Hello, all. It is October 26th. This is Daniel Kanakanui's manager interview. So, for my interview, my avatar is trying to achieve the dream job of director of officiating. So, I am a current soccer official, and I had an interview with one of my former co-referees and assigners, who also assesses. Um, an interview, and he's from High Point. So I emailed him the questions, and he emailed me back. So I'm here now to discuss some things that I've learned that we went over in the interview. So the breakdown of the interview was I broke it into categories of refereeing, which kind of breaks down what soccer officials do, how they learn, stuff like that. The next part was the actual directing or assigning. Then I paired that with the assessing portion where there's evaluations and um, sort of debriefs where officials can learn from those who are higher up some tips of the trade. So for the first question, I asked him what got him started into refereeing and when did he start. Um, and he told me that he got into refereeing because he had some friends who had gotten into it, and he enjoyed playing soccer when he was younger. So he thought a way to stay active into the game was to referee. And so he did this after high school. Some of the characteristics he enjoys about refereeing: he gets to use his personality, he gets to be around people. He also likes enforcing rules, so officiating is perfect for that. The next question was, what talents, abilities, and skills do you show off while refereeing? So some of these were the same. He gets to use his personality, his ability to talk to people and manage situations, especially stressful ones for most people. How do you feel officiating has helped you outside of the sports world? So this would be the communication part with players and coaches and stuff like that. Certainly the discussions that he has on the field and some of the actions that he uses, he gets to be assertive and help him make critical decisions, which he can also do off the soccer field. So then I asked, what was the more important part of refereeing, the mental or the physical aspect? And he said it was definitely the mental part, because anybody can get their body in good shape, but for you to be mentally strong throughout the whole game, not everybody can do it, and it's a very key part to maintaining safety and stuff like that for all the players and a good experience. My next ask was explain how understanding the goals and motives of players and coaches helps you manage them. So managing was a huge part of refereeing, I've noticed, and as he reiterated. So knowing what the players want and what the coaches want helps you manage, he says, by you know certain steps you can take or certain options you have that will um, influence them to either do something or not do something you want them to, for the betterment of opponents, other coaches, stuff like that. Um, I said, and then the last question in the refereeing section was, why is refereeing considered a sports profession in your opinion? He says, well, you're working with athletes of all ages and abilities, and you are the manager. You are the one controlling them, enforcing the rules, making sure safety is there, and you're there to make sure the game flows. So as a professional in the field, you're there to make sure your organization or your company flows. There's nothing holding it up or anything like that. The next portion of the interview was assigning. So I asked, how did you become an assigner? And he said once he moved up far enough, there was an opening. The old assigner was retiring, and so as a new up-and-coming referee in the area, someone who'd been successful, they offered him the position. The main duties of an assigner is to manage a huge pool of people, while putting your properly certified officials in the higher level games, while making sure that all officials and all games are covered. So it's sometimes a big web and a big mess, he says, but it has to be done and it has to be organized. What skills, traits must you possess to be successful? He says certainly organization and certainly the ability to make quick decisions when things go wrong in a quick second, unexpected turns. Um, Officials getting sick, officials getting in car accidents, stuff like that. He's got to make sure that if someone goes down, they still have someone else there for um, for the job, for the game. Did your experience in reffing help your signing ability? He does, yes, a little bit because he knows what kind of referees he needs where, and some of the officials that he assigns are some of his former co-officials. Does his profession lend more or less responsibility than officiating? He said it's different. They both lend a fair share of responsibility, but the assigning portion is a lot more responsibility on two ends. You have your referees and you have the people that you told them that you would assign for the clubs or the teams or the league that you vowed you would have referees there for. And lastly, I said, how do you see trends in sport participation from your viewpoint as an assessor? Are we seeing more or less? He says as an assessor, his club personally is growing, so he feels that sport participation is going up. He did say he noticed it is going down once we get to the upper of high school level, but certainly at younger ages, the participation is increasing as they're filling out more and more teams each season, and more games to be assigned. That's how that works. And the final part of his career profession would be the assessing portion, in which he goes and watches other referees and kind of critiques them, helps them refine their skills, tells them what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, so that they can become better officials for him. So I said that's basically, I asked him to describe what an assessor is, and that's basically what it is. As an assessor, what participation do you have as an assessor on the sport process? So here he says he's kind of like the quality assurance. He's out there to make sure officials are taking what they learned in the certification classes and applying the rules properly, and also helping them refine the little things that aren't necessarily taught, but are just kind of learned through experience. What skills must you possess to be a helpful assessor? He goes, you got to be an open-minded, and you gotta be willing to tell the truth, but also give options for the future. So if a certain situation happens and he goes, well, that's not really how you want to do it. Part of being an assessor is having different options for that similar scenario that are more efficient and better for the game or the referee's appearance. The next question was, is this aspect of sport management more or less important than the other two? He goes, well, every company needs someone to make sure their products are doing well, right? So this is what this is for. We need to make sure that the referees we're putting out there are of quality and doing the right things. As an assessor, do you feel like the teaching aspect is most helpful to the sport world? And he goes, yes, certainly. Teaching, giving back to the game is something he strives to do. So when he gets to help out younger referees through an assessment, he feels good about that. And lastly, which of the three is your favorite position? He goes, well, they all have different aspects. I enjoy the more of the people management and being out there in the physical aspect of refereeing, whereas I like being organized and logistically figuring things out as an assigner, and then giving back and teaching younger referees as an assessor is some of his favorite things. So thank you for your time, and this has been my manager interview video.